Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Some people say you need to balance the deen and the dunya. You mustn't be too religious and you mustn't be too materialistic. Is it possible to balance the deen and the dunya? Let's take a look. So can you balance the deen and dunya? The short answer to this question is no. It is not possible to balance the deen and dunya because the deen came to regulate your dunya. It came to regulate the whole of your dunya. And if you are not regulating your actions by the deen, then you are missing the point of the deen. Let me explain. Every action you do in this life is a physical action using your body and objects. Whether you eat, work, play, rest, whatever you do, it is a physical action in this life using your body or objects. However, the deen was revealed to regulate the whole of your dunya. The deen didn't come to regulate some of our actions and ignore others. The deen didn't come to regulate the akhirah. It came to regulate this life, this dunya. So when you eat, it's a physical action with a physical outcome, i.e. the satisfaction of your hunger. But if you do it regulated by the deen, i.e. you eat only that which Allah has permitted and you eat it in His name, then that action has been transformed by your deen. And not only do you achieve a physical outcome of satisfying your hunger, but you also get rewarded for being obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the spirit, the connection between the deen and dunya has transformed a mundane action into an action worthy of reward. If you go to work and engage in business, it is a physical action with a physical outcome. But if you regulate your work or your business by the Sharia, you only do those acts which the Sharia permits, then your deen is regulating your dunya. And again, you achieve a physical outcome. You may achieve profit or a wage, but your actions become praiseworthy and worthy of reward because the deen has regulated the dunya, and that connection, the spirit, means that it is an act worthy of reward. So Islam regulates all actions. So some actions may be obliged, some may be recommended, some may be permitted, others may be frowned upon, disliked or forbidden. But all actions fall under these 5 categories. So when your actions are regulated by the deen, it transforms a mundane worldly action into an action which is worthy of reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is explained in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he says, "Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir." So this life is like a prison for a believer because he restricts himself by the Sharia, and this life is like paradise for a disbeliever because they do as they please and do not restrict themselves by the restrictions placed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a Muslim is not one who just regulates his actions by the Sharia, but his whole purpose in life, his objective in life is determined by Islam as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَنُسُوكِ وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say, my prayer and my worship and my life and my death are devoted to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. You could have the aim of becoming a millionaire and you do all the halal actions in order to become a millionaire. Your objective might be to become famous and you do all the actions which are halal in order to become famous. So even though the action is halal, because the objective is not halal, it spoils the action and you achieve the benefit of that action, whether it is fame or fortune, and you don't achieve the reward because the objective wasn't for the sake of Islam. And that act is devoid of reward. So the objective needs to be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is explained in a hadith when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that 3 men will be accounted on the Day of Judgment. One will be a martyr who claims that he died for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah will say, no, you died, so people will call you brave. And they called you that. So you got your reward for that. Another man will come and claim that I learnt knowledge and disseminated it and recited the Quran for your sake. And Allah will say, no, you learnt knowledge, so people would call you a scholar. You did it for fame and people would call you a qari. And they called you that. So you achieved your reward in that life. And a third person will come and who will claim that he was a charitable man. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, no, you gave money so people would say that you are generous. And that's the reason you did it. And that is what people said. So you achieved what you wanted to achieve. Those acts were not done for my sake, so I have nothing for you. So this shows that not only does the act need to be halal, restricted by the Sharia, but it also needs to be done for the right niyyah, for the right objective. Islam by definition is submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by definition, it is a complete submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all our actions. It cannot be said that Islam is secular, that some acts are regulated by the Deen and some acts are not regulated by the Deen. So all acts are regulated by the Deen. Individual acts, we are responsible to regulate according to the Sharia. And public acts in society are mandated upon the Khilafah to regulate those acts. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.